Hey Tubies, it's Psychic Bob. Well, I tell you, my cold has been kicking my butt. Yesterday I didn't have a voice at all and I was feeling under the weather. So I didn't get out a video. But Psychic Bob doesn't want to leave you guys hanging and forget you. So here it is. It's Saturday. It's time for our Spiritualist class. Normally we do the class in the seance. Today I'm too weak to do channeling. I did readings earlier today, but that kind of took all my energy. So I'm going to have a little bit of a break today and just do a little class with you guys. We're going to keep it short and simple. But I feel well enough to sit up and talk to you. And, speaking of talking and feeling well, I am trying to save up my energy because tomorrow is a special event. Tomorrow at 8 p.m. we're going to have the Witching Hour, which is a live broadcast. And we're having our Samhain ritual. So if you want to celebrate Samhain, which is the Wiccan holiday of the dead, it's Halloween in the secular terms, be here tomorrow night, and we're going to have our Samhain ritual. So I want to be up to that, so I'm slowing down. I'm not overdoing it. But I did want to come and just share some more thoughts here from our book. We've been working on this book, Sylvia Browne, Mystical Traveler, and a lot of you have been writing to me saying, Psychic Bob, I feel called to serve God. I feel called to be a servant of the spirit world, but I don't know what that means or how to start or if I can even do it. And the wonderful thing is, if you're being called to that, there's a way to do it. And this book is going to help us understand more about taking on the calling of a mystical traveler. Pardon with me, guys. It's hard to hear me. I hope you can hear me okay. So we're going to continue. We're over on page 31. And we're in the chapter that's called, it's the second chapter, The Call That Resonates with the Soul. Okay. So we're going to continue. I think I read a little bit of this last week, but I want to go back and cover a little bit of it again. And at this point, Sylvia's writing about how you awaken to your spirituality. Like something in your life brought you to an awakening. And she says some people even thought that they, didn't have an awakening, but maybe they did and they didn't realize it. So we're going to continue on and let her say it. All right, so we're on page 31. If you review your past, you'll find the beginning of the spiritual you. Perhaps you said something to the effect of, I can't buy what those in authority are telling me. I have to do what I want, and I must have my own God in my own personal reality. I'm not even going to listen to what those people say about sin, damnation, and hellfire. And she goes on, she said, that's when your spirituality really started. It probably blossomed right away, but then you may not have seen it bear fruit for a long time. And that's just another step in the levels of the soul. You can either accept it or keep doing what you've been doing. After all, if you're living a good life and that's fine with you, then it's certainly fine with God. I'm going to pause right there because how many of us have gone into a church? I know I've done this. Sit in a church and they get up and they guilt everybody. They're like, all y'all are sinners. You're so evil. Your hearts are wicked. And they're like, well, I don't hate anybody. I love everybody. I'm not attacking anybody, doing wicked stuff. But yet they make you leave. You leave the church feeling worse than when you went in. That's a sign you got to get out. A lot of churches abuse people. I tell people that come to me, I said, I'd rather you go spend a day in a park talking to God, looking at the sky and the trees and the grass, than sit in a church and get beaten up. Because this is really what it is. A lot of churches terrify people. God is a loving God or God is a hateful God. I mean, you choose which one you want to honor. If you read in the Bible, and I'm not being a Bible thumper, but that's the Judeo-Christian culture is a big influence in America, the United States, and the Western world. You have this kind of psychotic God. In the Old Testament, he's killing off everybody. In the New Testament, Jesus is talking about loving everybody. So which is it? Well, I choose a God of love. And so I'm not buying into all this hellfire and stuff. And in fact, in spiritualism, one of the tenets of spiritualism is, and you've heard me quote this before, the doorway to reformation is never closed to any soul here or hereafter. And so what that means is, from a psychic, spiritual place, we're always given a chance to grow and to improve. I think that's much healthier than, well, you're just all evil and you're burning forever. Come on. But like Sylvia says, when you started saying something doesn't feel right, you are touching it on your spirituality. So some of you would say, well, I don't really know. I'm not very gifted in that way. I don't know a lot. What you know is in your heart. That's worth more than any book learning. Trust me. Okay? She goes on, she writes, this is again page 31, midway down the page. But consider this, anything you do or experience takes time. For example, while getting over a loved one's death never really ends, after 3 to 4 years, the raw edge of it does diminish. Does that mean you can't conjure up the pain at any time? Of course you can. My father's passing, for instance, was more than 10 years ago, but it's still painful even now. No, it's not the razor's edge it once was, although whenever I hear Over the Rainbow, I'm reduced to tears because it was his song for me. I know that if you're experiencing extreme anguish, you feel that it will never end. But I assure you that it will. If it didn't, you couldn't live. Being on a higher spiritual plane, or aspiring to be, does help and fills your soul with love. And I want to pause right there because I think this is so important. I can't tell you as a psychic how many people have come to me and said, I'm just going to die. My husband died, my wife died, somebody died, and I'm just going to die. I can't live. I can't go on. And I always tell them, like Sylvia says here, it will pass. The pain will lessen, and you'll start to function. Now, people don't believe that when I tell them, but they can't help it. You can't see it, and you can't see it when you're in deep grief. So if you're in a place right now where you're in deep grief, give yourself time. Be gentle with yourself. Like she says, having a healthy spirituality really helps. I know that when my father died, I tell you, the thing that got me through that was my belief in the spirit world. I actually heard from my father the very day that he died, which was a miracle. Because usually I don't connect it. I never get stuff for myself, but that one day my father came to me. And he's come to me a few times since. So, knowing that he lives and he's in the spirit world makes it a lot more bearable. Do I still miss him? Yeah. Is it still hard sometimes? Yeah. But I think that those who have no faith or totally believe in materialism and that believe that death is the end, there's nothing, I think for them death must be so much more difficult. And Sylvia's right. When you have a spiritual faith, it transcends you, helps you to transcend the current reality, to see the bigger truth, and to be connected to a power that sustains you. I think it's very true. So that's my thought on that. All right, so let's go on here. Keep in mind that most of life is about overcoming something. Being abused doesn't scar the soul by itself, for instance. When people carry such an experience with them for too long, they can't seem to drop it, so they let it flavor their whole existence. This is where being a mystical traveler can really be an asset, because it diminishes time and softens the pain of illness, divorce, trauma, and the like. Now, see, that's really true because, I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you've met somebody. There's always somewhere, wherever you go, there's one person, I call him the complainer. Everything's bad. I was on an airplane one time, and this lady behind me was drinking. Well, she was very la-di-da, and she ordered, I was traveling in first class, which was, it was a treat. I actually was given a first class ticket as a gift. I don't normally travel first class. But I was in the upper class section, enjoying it. And this lady behind me ordered a martini, a cocktail. Well, they brought the finest, gin. She's like, oh, I don't like the gin. It's not chilled enough. So they brought her another, one that was colder. Then she's like, well, I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like these seats. I had the whole flight. And I was flying all the way to the west, across the country. It was a 3-hour flight. Nothing made her happy. Complain, complain, complain. And I thought to myself, this lady somewhere in her soul has held on to some type of negativity. And that negativity has just flavored her whole life, that everything is tainted with negativity. And I think as spiritual people, we got to be really mindful of what we hold on to and what we let go of. As many of you know, I've been working on developing a minimalist lifestyle. And minimalism is not just some aesthetic of a sleek, trim-lined home. Minimalism is a conscious thought process. It's saying what is important, what do we hold on to, and what do we let go of. And in my process of minimalism, I've been letting go of a lot of stuff. And you know what I found is that allows me to see what's really important. And see, like Sylvia says here, when somebody holds on to a negative situation for so long, it ruins everything, taints their whole soul and their existence. So it's really good that we periodically, declutter our emotional self. Think about what we're angry about, what we're holding on to, and make a choice to let that go. Now, I'm not saying that's easy, because it takes a lot of work. But it's definitely something we should be working on and trying to do. So I think it's, that's so important. And being a mystical traveler really does help you to kind of cut through a lot of the stuff that blocks a lot of people. Some of you have written to me and said, Psychic Bob, I think I'm a mystical traveler. One person wrote me and they said, I think I'm a mystical traveler, but I had a really bad past when I was younger. Does that disbar me? I said, no. When you're younger, we all do stupid stuff. This person done a lot of things that were less than ethical, that's all I'll say. And they said, I feel like I'm supposed to be a mystical traveler, but will God forgive me of that past and let me move forward? I said, God's already forgotten it. You're the only one hanging on to it. You think that God, the divine, is sitting up there with a calculator tabulating our sins? No. Remember that God, according to spiritualism, is called infinite intelligence, the all-pervasive mind of deity, which understands and knows all things and has formulated all reality. Believe me, that mind is much bigger than anything you could do. So if you feel like you're being called to be a mystical traveler, don't let your negative past hold you back. You love God. Like Sylvia says, love God, love your neighbor, do some good in the world, and when it's all done, just shut up and go home. She said that. She's so true about it. So think about that. Let's let go of those things that hold us back from being a mystical traveler. It's our own self-doubt, our fear, our anxiety. You gotta let that go. All right, we're going to continue on here. 4 or 5 year periods constantly repeat themselves in human life, such as in the length of time it takes for those who are introverted doormats to become extroverted and stand up for themselves. It can also take this long if you're trying to beat Mr. or Mrs. Right. I'm not saying that you have to wait for that long to marry if you're currently with the person of your dreams. But just be careful about running to the altar with someone you just met. It can work, but only if you're truly in love and not lust. Sylvia's so right about these repeating cycles. As a psychic, when I do readings, I always see around people energy, and I'll tell them you're starting a 5-year cycle or 4-year or 20-year. It's more than just 4 or 5, but 4 and 5 does seem to be quite common. She's absolutely right about that. And I see a number of people who have that sort of cycle pattern. And it's interesting. When I was a young medium, I was an apprentice medium for about 4 to 5 years before I became a fully practiced licensed medium. So isn't that interesting? It was during that time, that 4 to 5 years, that I developed my gifts and I developed my confidence in being able to speak to the public. Because when I started out, I was doing live readings in a spiritualist church. So the whole congregation, and every week I had to go out and be live and get it right the first time. No retakes like on YouTube. But that 4 to 5 year cycle is significant because, within our lives, if you go back and study your life, you've probably done some major changes during those periods. you know. Now, she also talks about relationships, and she said, you know, it's so important that, you know, you take that in a proper time. Like, don't rush into it. And again, if you've dated somebody for 4 to 5 years, you really know them. And I think she's so right about just rushing to the altar. Because I find that a lot of the people in our society, in Western culture, marry out of lust. They see somebody, they look beautiful, they're turned on, let's get married. When they don't have a foundation, which is love. Love is based on the soul. Lust is of the body. Now, nothing wrong with lust. Everybody likes to lust a little bit. Okay? I mean, we all like, what's the word? Eye candy? Of course we do, yes. But that's different than really committing your whole life to somebody. And that takes love. And love is a deep spiritual thing. You know, when I read for people, especially I have young couples, because I'm an ordained state licensed minister, I do weddings. And people will come to me, and when I sit with them to counsel them, I see if I see a silver cord going from the heart chakra to the heart chakra. If I see a silver cord, that means they really are building a union. But if they don't have that cord, I'll say to them, how long have you been together? And they'll say, oh, 3 months. And I say, you want to get married? I say, yeah. I'll say, you might want to wait a little longer. You want to build that silver cord. See, and that's what makes a true marriage. So Sylvia is really right about this. Anyways, guys, I'm going to stop right there today. My voice is really weak, so I'm not going to continue. But I have so enjoyed being here with you. Thank you for understanding that I'm slowing things down a little bit for the last few days and today. Psych Bob's okay. Don't worry. I'm making it through. I just don't have a very good voice. I'm a little weak. But tomorrow, hopefully, well, we are going to have it. I'm determined to be there. We're going to have our Samhain ritual. So I hope you'll join us for a live ritual. 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific. 1 a.m. London time, 2 a.m. Paris time. And all you'll need to bring to the ritual is a candle, just one candle. That's all you need. So see if you can dig up a candle. It can be any color. If you want to do Halloween colors, black or orange or white, it doesn't matter. Just get a candle. It should be a new one if you can have it. I prefer it really be a new candle, though. So see if you can scrounge up a candle, and that's all you need for the ritual. And if you can't get a candle, for whatever reason, still be at the ritual. You can still be part of it, even without a candle. Okay? You guys are best. Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you for putting up with my bad voice. I look forward to being here tomorrow for the Samhain ritual, and we'll see you then. Well, guys, listen, may you be blessed. By the way, if you want to get on my schedule for a reading, I will be doing readings over the next week. You can call me 703-825-3929. A lot of you have been calling. We've been having really good sessions. And even though my voice is a little raspy, I've been doing good readings. And people seem to really enjoy them. So give me a call, 703-825-3929. Or you can write to me in my email, readings@robert-hickman.com. And that link will be below. So below's all the links you need. And if you get a chance, pop over to my website and pick up my books. I've got some books there. You can read about my work as a psychic and also see my published works at the bookstore and purchase those. So help yourself to that. You guys are best. I love you. We'll see you here tomorrow. And until then, may you always blessed